February 2020, Melly was involved in a multi-inmate fight inside the day room of his area unit and was given a DR for his role in the fight. October 2020, placed on a room restriction for refusing to go back to his cell as he was trying to hide while on the phone.
And developing now, there's a new push to get rapper YNW Melly out of jail. He's currently awaiting retrial for 2 childhood friends, but a new lawsuit alleges he's being held in inhumane conditions.
The judge just gave Melly his release date for bond during his new court hearing, because it started when the news announced as predicted Bortland took the plea deal. He also agreed to a proffer, which means he's talking. The sentence is to accessory after the fact, and he will do 10 years plus 6 on probation. We've already requested his deposition in the civil case. An email from the prosecutors revealed they are concerned about Portland being inside prison, as it reads, given Mr. Henry's plea deal and prefer agreement. We request his deposition as soon as possible. Given the circumstances, we are concerned for his safety and would like to facilitate it in the next 30 days. Please advise if you will continue to represent all of these defendants, as they are worried that Bortland will have something done to him before he's able to answer the prosecutor's questions about the night of the crime. This resulted in a message from Bortland from jail.
Man, you better stop playing on my top, man. Y'all know it's sport, man. I'm 10 toes down. I hold it down, stay solid. They hate it. Forward to go troll, they quick to pray. I'm a young G, just skated for license. But I look like taking the deal that hurt my. I look like giving a about how y'all feel. I'm a young fly. Be back to raise and prevail. Damn, why they want to take that L? Don't you know you can see the dirt for even speaking that L? The sport ain't a part of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. YNW fail, never be stopped. Let's stop playing on my top like y'all know what the f going on, man. Hey, free me in, Melly. Boys.
As the judge made it clear that Melly's trial starts in January 2027. A bond release is on the table, but there's 3 factors academics explain. Melly's first factor depends on what Portland says academics wrote. The judge says that on both charges, Bortland pled no contest to that. He has to provide a factual basis to accept the plea, meaning he has to tell the factual story of how he committed accessory to the crime, which confirms the crime happened. It's a gunner plea, but he can't just say, yes, ma'am. He has to sing like Franklin. As academics explain more on how the plea deal is similar to guns.
I did tweet out saying people are upset. I said, this is a gunner plea. This is a gunner plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell or him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a gunner plea. Why do I say he signed a gunner plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they have proved, but prove that this is a homicide with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortland, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. What that proved is that Bortland worked with someone after he acknowledged that a took place in trying to cover it up. You hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that it happened and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the. Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know they were, and then secondly, how do we know who did it? Because they said it was a drive-by.
Because if Bortland confirms Sack Chaser and Juvie were taken out, then it only leaves Melly as a suspect in the car. But the judge in the case was surprised that Bortland got as good of a plea deal that he did. As he said, I don't know how your lawyers pulled this off.
And it's my understanding that you want to resolve both cases today. Is that correct? Yes. And that resolution is an agreement you've reached with the state, the terms of which are as follows. Number one, in the 19 case, you're going to plead no contest to both counts of accessory after the fact. In the 23 case, you're going to plead no contest to all 4 counts as charged. In exchange for that, the state is going to null process, that is, drop the 2 first-degree. In exchange for that, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty on the 2 accessory counts as well as the tampering count. I'm going to sentence you to 10 years in Florida State Prison.
This is one of the greatest plea deals of all time, as he cut his potential time in prison from 5 life sentences down to only 6 years left to serve, which resulted in the news of Lily. Wayne and Kodak Black's attorney Bradford Cohen says Bortland bit the cheese and is likely to flip on Melly after accepting a plea deal.
All right, let's talk YNW Melly and YNW Bortland. He is now doing the triple Lindy. For those youngsters that don't know what the triple Lindy is, it is when you do several flips off a high dive, and he will be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve. He decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip. And it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible.
As 6699 even wrote, Portland just accepted his plea. Deal with prosecutors, Melly is cooked. I told you about all these rap guys years ago, but since they were scared of how big I was, everyone singled me out. As the judge named all of Portland's charges he faced, and how long each one would have had him in. Prison for Portland really saved himself with the plea deal.
Mr. Henry, do you understand the offer that the state is making to you? Okay, you're charged as follows. Counts 1 and 2 is the first degree with a firearm. Those are capital felonies, which means it's a mandatory life sentence. If the jury convicts you of count 1 or count 2 as charged, that's life in Florida State Prison. I have no discretion. Count 3 and count 4 are accessory after the fact to the first degree. Those are each first degree felony. The maximum penalty for each of those is 30 years in Florida State Prison. Count 1 is tampering with a witness in a capital felony. That is punishable by life in Florida State Prison. Is directing the activities of a criminal. That's a first degree felony punishable by life. So the maximum penalty there is also life in Florida State Prison. Count 5 is conspiracy to commit tampering. And again, as it's charged, that is also a life felony. As to all the charges that you're facing, the maximum possible penalties are as follows. Life in Florida State Prison, followed by 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 75 years in Florida State Prison.
The second factor playing into Mellier's release depends on what Portland says about the interrogation from the night of the crime. They will ask if Melly told him what to say and lie for him or not, as they will play this clip of an officer asking Portland if he knew who did the crime.
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And it's a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of it. I wouldn't want to be.
Where Portland doesn't give a yes or no answer with his voice as he shakes his head no instead because he was worried about showing body. Language that would indicate he was lying. This was a clear indicator to police Portland never wanted to be involved. He knows what happened and he just wants out as the feds have proof Melly admitted to the crime only hours later.
The PC Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, I did that, and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly count says what?
After that, SHHHH.
But in a surprise interview, Melly's brother revealed he's pretty confident in the case because Melly has spent hundreds of thousands on jewelry while in jail, which is crazy because he can't even have it while in jail, I would assume, but still.
I would assume that he spent a lot of money on lawyers. Like an amount that would probably...
That kid spent a lot of money on a lot of things that shouldn't have been spent on.
Really? Like what else?
And cars, jewelry. And he's not even out to wear the jewelry. I'm like, why are you buying jewelry? You're not here to wear the jewelry.
No, definitely lawyers are probably the best thing you can spend
That's
money
what
on.
bro. But he's good with lawyers, bro. Like, money ain't an issue for lawyers. Like, he's fine. But it's just like, there was a lot of stuff that should have went to lawyers that he didn't spend on lawyers. And I'm like, bro. And now it's like, he don't even want to chain no more.
However, it's important to know why Portland snitched, which no one's talking about. Which started when it was reported Melly's double retrial has been postponed once again. Court of Appeals granted a stay in the case, meaning the case was delayed, and wouldn't begin until January of 2027, as they wanted to buy time to make the plea deal with Portland. Further proving this is what they wanted, a report wrote, "A no communication order has been filed in the Melly trial. The order makes Melly And Bortland completely separated from communicating with each other, as they originally wanted to put Bortland and Melly in the same trial with each other, but they couldn't do it. So the plea deal was the next best option, as this is how having them both in the same trial would have helped the feds.
Issue here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It's just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking the penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
But the plea deal made total sense for Bortland to take. Not only does it help Bortland a lot, but Melly tried throwing the crime on Bortland in his first trial, which is what led to Bortland flipping sides.
Those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
As they told the whole courtroom that Bortland was the one that was last with Sack Chaser and Juvie, and he was the one who lied to the feds. But most importantly, they said that Bortland had powder on his hands, which was potential evidence of him doing the crime, as this investigator spoke about it.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of residue and two component particles. And the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was residue present on the hands.
Bortland hated this in the first trial, and he tweeted after it happened. Mind games don't work on people like me. Alongside a handshake emoji making it seem like he was accepting a plea deal, but with Bortland already wanting to turn on Melly and being mad at him, it made Bortland want to take a plea deal. Even more when he was hit with witness tampering charges.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortland was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law and Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortland, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortland allegedly tampered with the witness.
Here are the images of alleged notes discovered during the home raid of Bortland's home, as the photos show drawings that Bortland made of where people sat in the jury, as he matched them with a description of what they looked like, as it looks like Bortland was going to take out a jury member from Ellie so he wasn't found guilty, which had academics telling Bortland just how dumb that was.
To keep it real, this is sloppy. Bortland, how the f you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh! Like, come the f on. It's like doing a and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. They're like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your crib.
Although with Portland now siding with the feds, we'll get the answer why Fredo Bang picked up Melly on the night of the crime. As the feds have wondered this for a long time, did he just want to get away from the scene, or did he have to clean up after it happened?
And Chris Thomas are. So what you're also going to find out is while Mr. Devins is out there on the side of the road, 4 in the morning, 4:42 specifically, he sends a drop pin, digital homing beacon, to his current location to one of his friends, Frederick Givens. Frederick Givens is also involved in the music industry, and he asked to be picked up. Frederick Givens, then about 11 minutes later, is sent another drop pin where Mr. Devins has moved a couple of meters. What you're going to find out as well, though, is these digital leashes, they have more than just phone call.
To make the situation even worse for Melly, they are trying to tie his crime into being street team. Related, as it will make the charges that much worse with their penalties, as they're trying to connect Melly to the Red Street team, as he was seen in this photo with Young Thug, who is affiliated with the Red team.
Same thing, the use of the slap term, 5-point star, snake. He's saying he's YSL, he's hanging with him. And he puts up his YNW for life hashtag on it. With, Mr. Devins has big hand signs displayed.
Right, and see with individuals again, I'm assuming that's also the Young Thug. That's also unknown.
Yes.
Also important to your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Also publicly available for anyone to see and capture.
With Melly tired of waiting for his trial, he was fine with letting the prosecutors enter it in court, but his lawyers wanted to stop it, which led to the report. Today's hearing marks the first time Melly publicly went against his lawyers' adesement in open court, as Melly was seen yelling at his lawyers.
Yes, sir.
Against our advice, our client must proceed.
You object to their request for me to determine this automatic stay.
Based upon what our client has instructed us, yes, sir.
People in the court heard Melly saying, "I don't care, I'm not in no gang." They can't prove that.
Where 924-071. Call for an automatic stay while
they were aggravators. They go to membership in a gang. There are things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty.
Not aggravator, that's the death penalty. Aggravator, that's the enhancement itself, Your Honor. That's charged. He was charged in committing the for the further conviction, which is an aggravator in terms of the guilt.
Something that they would have to find by way of an interrogatory.
Yes.
But they also want to use this new former O-Black member's testimony that Melly was asking King Va for advice on how to handle people.
Did Vaughn really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Vaughn was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? Walk the bam. I'm like, you sitting up here, like, you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around them?
But what's even worse for Melly is his second case. In case you haven't been keeping up, Melly is now in another case which has charges of life in prison because Melly's girlfriend returned to the United States after 3 years away, as the prosecutors believe Melly tampered with her and made her leave the country so she wouldn't testify against him, which is why when she first returned, she was arrested.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
As the judge made Mariah agree that she has to show up to the next trial for her release. So Mariah wrote on Facebook, "Thank you to my village, I love y'all so much, God's plan, not mine." As she's saying that it isn't her decision to testify against him, but it's what she has to do, as the feds believe they have evidence to prove Melly. Witness tampered with Mariah, which carries a life sentence behind bars, even if Melly is innocent in the other crime.
The state filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
Even Juvie's father heard about how Melly witness tampered, which got him charged.
There was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person and then that person.
And like to me, they going through extreme measures, trying to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom. And
although Melly's mother is very upset, he has no form of communication anymore, as she spoke on it in an interview.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
But it's clear they have kept him off the phone to stop him from tampering. If anything, it's a good thing for Melly so that he can't add more charges to his case. Although it doesn't change how his mother feels, she's heartbroken for her son.
When you saw Melly's statement, just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life, as a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
But this got attention for the media, as Charleston White said that Melly deserves it.
The YNW Melly, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated, homie. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a motherfucking thing. About being mistreated when you done chose to play somebody.
But Bowie felt for Melly's mother, as he knows how bad she has felt throughout the whole case.
Okay, so
then I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a.
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him. Cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
But Portland can reveal why he and Melly were dancing hours after the crime.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! No, still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.
Although the evidence against Melly is overwhelming, because only 30 minutes before the crime happened, a security camera caught Melly sitting in the back left seat of the Jeep.